When the Second World War began in September 1939, the Royal Canadian Navy was tiny, just 6 destroyers, 4 minesweepers, and around 3,500 personnel. Yet by 1945, it had become the third largest Allied navy, behind only the United States and Britain, with more than 470 warships and 95,000 personnel. In 1939, under the command of Rear Admiral Percy Nels, the Navy's mission was modest: defend Canadian waters, escort shipping, and support Britain at sea. Its main vessels, destroyers like HMCS Saguenay, Skeena, Saint Laurent, Fraser, Restigouche, and Ottawa, were all pre-war Royal Navy types. They immediately began escorting troop convoys to Britain, often in terrible weather and with outdated equipment. But the real test was the Battle of the Atlantic, the longest and most crucial campaign of the war. The Royal Canadian Navy became a frontline force in this 6-year struggle to keep Britain supplied against the relentless threat of German U-boats. Early on, the Canadians faced immense challenges. The Navy lacked modern sonar, radar, and experienced officers. Convoy protection was chaotic, communications unreliable, and ships often underarmed. But necessity forced rapid learning. Canadian shipyards launched new escort vessels at an astonishing rate. 123 Flower-class corvettes and 70 River-class frigates were built during the war, many by small coastal yards that had never built a warship before. The corvettes, like HMCS Sackville, Louisbourg, and Snowbury, were small, cramped, and constantly wet. Crews of 80 men endured weeks at sea in freezing spray, sleeping in damp hammocks, their food often soaked with salt water. Yet these ships were the backbone of the Atlantic convoys, slow, rolling heavily in rough seas, but deadly to U-boats in the right hands. Life on a corvette meant round-the-clock watches, seasickness, and endless repairs to aging engines. But morale was sustained by tight-knit crews and a shared purpose. The Canadian Navy's transformation was led by men like Commodore Leonard W. Murray, who became commander of the Newfoundland Escort Force and later the Canadian Northwest Atlantic Command, making him the only Canadian to command an Allied theatre of operations during the war. Under his leadership, the RCN took responsibility for nearly all convoy escort operations west of the mid-Atlantic in 1943. Canadian ships and crews distinguished themselves in countless engagements. In August 1942, HMCS Oakville rammed and depth-charged U-94 near Haiti, forcing the submarine to surface before Canadian sailors boarded and captured it. And HMCS Ville de Quebec destroyed U-224 in the Mediterranean in January 1943. HMCS Hyder, commanded by Commander Harry de Wolfe, became the most famous Canadian warship of the war, sinking or helping to sink 14 enemy ships. As their skill increased, Canadian escort groups began operating independently. By 1943-44, the Canadian C groups, C1, C2, and C3, were among the most effective anti-submarine units in the Atlantic, responsible for dozens of U-boat kills. The cost was severe. Canada lost over 70 warships and 24 merchant vessels to enemy action. More than 2,200 sailors of the RCN were killed, many when their ships went down in freezing seas. Among the worst losses was the HMCS Valleyfield, torpedoed in May 1944, with a loss of 125 men, the single greatest loss of life for the RCN in the war. Bravery was common. Lieutenant Commander James D. Prentice, captain of HMCS Ottawa, was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross for gallantry in convoy defense. Lieutenant Commander Desmond Pearce of HMCS Restigouche received the DSO for his leadership and heroism during U-boat hunts. Chief Petty Officer Max Bernays, serving aboard HMCS Assiniboine, won the Conspicuous Gallantry Medal in 1942 after single-handedly operating both helm and engine telegraphs during a battle with U-210, allowing his captain to ram and destroy the submarine. Canadian naval forces were not confined to the Atlantic. Destroyers such as HMCS Iroquois, Athabascan, and Algonquin served with the Royal Navy's Home Fleet in northern waters, escorting Arctic convoys to Murmansk and bombarding German positions off Norway and France. Canadian warships also took part in the D-Day landings, bombarding the Normandy coast and guarding Allied invasion convoys. By 1945, the Royal Canadian Navy operated a formidable fleet, 471 fighting ships, including 27 destroyers, 123 corvettes, 70 frigates, 188 minesweepers, and 59 motor torpedo boats. It had become a truly global navy, operating in the Atlantic, Mediterranean, and English Channel. Its success came from a combination of adaptability, courage, and endurance. Canadian sailors came from every walk of life: fishermen from Newfoundland, students from Ontario, and prairie volunteers who had never seen the sea. They endured long, cold voyages, seasickness, fear, and boredom. The RCN was not glamorous, but it was relentlessly effective. In total, Canadian escort ships took part in the destruction of 33 confirmed U-boats, and Canadian air and sea coordination contributed to many more kills. When the U-boat threat finally broke in mid-1943, the RCN's contribution had been decisive in securing Allied control of the North Atlantic. The cost was high. Over 2,000 killed, dozens of ships lost, and thousands more wounded or traumatized. Yet the Royal Canadian Navy emerged from the war as a professional, respected force, a navy that had protected Britain's survival, sustained the Allied armies, and proven itself capable of global operations. By the war's end, Canada's sailors had turned a small coastal defence force into one of the world's great maritime services. It would be hard to overstate how serious the consequences for Britain would have been had the Germans won the Battle of the Atlantic. The RCN's courage and self-sacrifice during that long ordeal made it not only capable, but crucial to the eventual Allied victory. Thanks for watching. So, what do you think? How capable was the RCN in World War II? Let me know in the comments below, and if you have enjoyed this video, then please like, share and subscribe for more analysis of the Second World War. And on a final note, here at Second World War History, we're always interested to know which aspects of World War II our viewers would like to learn more about. Please let us know in the comments, and hopefully we will be able to add your requests to the channel.